This is Karen.
Welcome, everybody. I'm Shane.
Today we're looking at part 1 of How Much Do You Really Know About Tea? And the vocabulary words are pour.
Pour.
Cassandra poured the water out of the buckets.
Onto your head.
Hey!
Bush.
Bush.
The bushes in Tom's garden are about 2 meters tall.
Wow, no way.
Too tall.
Harvest.
Harvest.
Last year, the harvest lasted about 5 weeks.
Citizen.
Citizen.
Jason is a French citizen who is currently living in Japan.
Bonjour. Reputation.
Reputation.
That school has a great reputation. So we're talking about tea. Do you like tea?
Tea. Yummy.
I love tea. It's actually one of my favorite drinks.
Okay, so you like tea more than coffee?
I don't drink coffee, so that's why I'm a tea lover.
Interesting. Well, did you know that I was pretty surprised when I found out that tea, all different kinds of tea, black, green, red, any kind, they only come from one kind of plant.
You're kidding me.
Yeah, it's just the way that they are processed that makes them different. So like
Really?
green tea, the way that it's processed could be like steamed or dried, and then it will become like a green tea. But black tea, you just leave it there to just dry, and that's just black tea.
No way.
So it really just depends on how you process them.
I see.
Or where they're grown or something like that.
Okay, here's another interesting question for you. Okay, which country's citizen consume the most tea?
I would guess China.
I would think so too, but it's not true.
Where?
Turkey.
Turkey.
Did you know
Interesting.
that? So I guess they drink a lot of tea in Turkey.
Wow.
No, fascinating, eh?
Yeah. What's your favorite kind of tea?
I love green tea. I love black tea. I love all different kinds of tea.
How about boba milk tea?
Oh, me too.
Right? Okay, let's learn more about tea.
How much do you guys really know about tea?
How much do you really know about tea? Second only to water, tea is one of the most popular drinks in the world. Whether you like it boiling hot, poured over ice, or served with milk and tapioca pearls, there's a lot to love about tea. But how much do you know about it? Let's test your knowledge to see if you're a real tea master. Hey, and welcome to Live Interactive English. I'm Mike.
I'm Kim.
And today, Kim, we are going to be talking about one of the most popular drinks in the world.
I love this drink. How
Are
about
you
you?
a big fan? You're a fan of tea? I do like tea. A lot of people like tea. And one of the cool things about it is it's available in so many different ways.
I know there are countless kinds of tea, and there's even more ways to drink it.
I think there are probably more ways to drink tea than coffee.
Yeah, I think so.
I would say coffee's always kind of like coffee, but if you have tea, you can have it with almost anything and lots of different flavors too. So we'll be learning a lot about tea, and probably some of the things that we'll be learning will surprise you in our article, How Much Do You Really Know About Tea?
Yeah, let's find out.
Yeah.
Second only to water, tea is one of the most popular drinks in the world.
Wow.
Whether you like it boiling hot, poured over ice, or served with milk and tapioca pearls, there's a lot to love about tea. It is one of the most popular drinks. It's everywhere in the world. Europe, Asia, America.
It's true, and
everywhere.
a lot of these places have their own unique tea culture, right?
Yeah.
But when you're drinking tea or water or almost any liquid, anything that you drink, you will probably pour it at some point. To pour, this verb basically means to let water or a liquid fall out of something in a controlled way. You're trying to keep things nice and neat. You don't take a glass of water and do that so it all falls out at the same time, getting all over the floor in your pants and making a mess. No, you do it slowly in a controlled way. If you have a glass of water, your friend has an empty glass and wants some of that, you will pour the water carefully and a little bit slowly from one thing into another thing. So you're moving liquid around, probably from one container to another in a slow, careful way so as not to make a mess. For example, Cassandra poured the water out of the bucket, probably into a sink or something like that. She doesn't want to get that water everywhere.
That's right. And we will find out. But how much do you know about it? About tea, that is. Let's test your knowledge to see if you're a real tea master.
A quiz.
Do you think you can pass?
No.
We're going to see
Yes.
after the break.
Hello，大家好，我是 Hanny。茶是世界上最受欢迎的饮料之一，像在台湾夏天真的很热，大家都喜欢去买冰凉的手摇饮。那这些饮料大多也都是以茶为基底，对不对？那你对茶的了解有多少呢？我们这2天的课文就是来考考大家，看看你是不是一位茶的达人。好，课文就写到说，无论你喜欢它是滚烫的，是倒在冰上的，还是搭配牛奶和珍珠，茶有许多深受喜爱的地方。好，那么单字 pour 就是表达倒出或是注入的那种意思。那这边还有2个重点，第一个重点是句型 whether 什么什么 or 什么什么，逗号主词加动词，表示无论什么或是什么都怎么样。那么其中的whether 点点点 or 点点点可以连接2个或是2个以上的可能或选择，像是 whether A or B 或是 whether A, B or C。那特别注意，如果是连接子句，句子里面相同的部分是可以省略的。例如 whether they are steamed, baked or deep fried, sweet potatoes are delicious。地瓜无论是用蒸的、用烤的或是用油炸的都很好吃。第二重点是 if 引导名词子句是表达是否怎么样，这时候 if 可以用 whether 来替换，那么常常会把它摆在间接问句当中来当作动词的受词使用。像我们可以说 I don't know if it's a good idea， 也可以说 I don't know whether it's a good idea， 就是说我不知道那是不是个好点子诶。好，那么接着回到课文中。
How much do you really know about tea? 1. How many types of tea plants are there? A. 1. B. 2. C. 3. D. 4. Although there are thousands of different types of teas, they all come from one plant, Camellia sinensis, a bush native to East Asia. The differences come from where the plants are grown and how their leaves are treated after harvest. Leaves used to make green tea are processed. For instance, they can be lightly steamed or oven dried, while those used to make black tea are left to dry.
All right, we're about to find out if you, or Mike, are a real tea master. Let's get into our questions now. 1. How many types of tea plants are there? A. 1. B. 2. C. 3. D. 4.
Oh, I don't like these questions because they're hard. Well, okay, I will be honest. We've read this article before, so we do kind of know the answers. But I will tell you what I originally was thinking before I read the answer. I was kind of thinking, well, there's black tea, right? There's green tea. There's red tea. I think I've seen white tea. There's oolong tea. I don't know. So I guessed, I wasn't really sure, but I would have guessed probably 4.
I thought 4 was too little. I would have guessed more than 4, like thousands.
Well, yeah, but we don't have that as an option.
Yeah, so what's the deal?
Well, although it says, here's the answer, although there are thousands of different types of teas, they all come from one plant.
Wow.
There's only one type of tea, and everything else happens after you pick the leaves. And what kind of plant, what kind of leaf do you pick? It says Camellia sinensis, a bush native to East Asia.
Wow, so the answer is A, 1.
Yep. All the tea comes from one type of plant or bush, Camellia sinensis.
Now a bush is any large leafy plant. It can be really tall or really short, but all that they have in common is that they're wide and have a lot of leaves. For example, the bushes in Tom's garden are about 2 meters tall. In this case, they're really tall. But the most important part is they're just wide and have a lot of leaves. And this is the kind of bush that a tea comes from.
Yeah. Bushes are often a little bit bigger than a plant, but smaller than a tree. They will have wooden parts like a tree,
Yes.
right? But they don't have as much leafy stuff as just a simple plant. And also, the simple thing to think about bushes is berries.
Yes,
Right? We get
bushes have
strawberries
berries.
and raspberries, and those things come from bushes, not from trees or smaller plants. All right, so we have one type of tea plant or tea bush, but all the different types of tea, and there are many, right?
Yes,
we were
many.
right. You were right in thinking, black tea, red tea, green tea, but they all come from that one plant.
And you were right as well. You mentioned earlier that the difference is in how they're brewed after they're picked.
Interesting.
And that's true. The differences come from where the plants are grown and how their leaves are treated after harvest.
Yeah, how they're, maybe we would say how they're processed
Yes.
after harvest. Because harvest is a noun that we use when we're talking about when farmers have grown all the plants or the food that they're going to grow through the summer, and then they cut it down, they chop it up, they pick it, they collect it, and bring it in. That is the harvest. So yes, it usually happens in the fall or at the end of the summer, after the plants or whatever they're growing has had some time to get big and ready to eat, and then they will harvest it. We can use it as a verb. To harvest is to pick or chop or cut down while the food, or that time is also harvest. The food they collect is their harvest for the year. For example, last year, the harvest lasted about 5 weeks. It took about 5 weeks to collect all the plants after they had grown.
Yes, and after these leaves are harvested,
Yes.
it says, leaves used to make green tea are processed. For instance, they can be lightly steamed or oven dried, while those used to make black tea are left to dry. So green tea would be more processed. You need to add something like steam or drying it out in an oven, whereas the black tea, just leave it there.
Interesting. I've seen people having like they have these mats where they just put the leaves out. So that's black tea. That's what they're making when they just leave it out in the sun to dry. Interesting. All right. So already we know more than we knew before about tea, but we've just begun. Let's take a break, and then we'll be back with question number 2.
考你，茶树有多少品种呢？是1种、2种、3种还是4种 ？Mike 老师说，他起初看到题目是在想说，有红茶、绿茶、乌龙茶，很多茶，他可能会猜4种吧。那老师刚刚是用到 originally 来表达起初、原来的那种意思。我们来拼一下这个字 originally。好，那我们来揭晓答案哦。虽然世界上有成千上万种不同类型的茶，但它们全都来自一种植物，就是茶树。它是一种东亚原生的灌木。那么之所以会有各种不同的茶，差别就在于植物是种在哪里，还有收成之后这个叶子的处理方式。我们先来看2个单字 bush 它表示灌木或是灌木丛。那么 Kim 老师在解释单字时用到 leafy， 就是 leaf L-E-A-F 后面加上 y 变成这个形容词。leafy 是形容多叶的，或是形容树叶茂密的、草木茂盛的。再来看 harvest 在这边当名词来表达收获、收成或是收获期。好，那补充一下，不同的茶叶我们会有不同冲泡方式嘛？那我们可以用到 brew 这个动词 B-R-E-W， brew 可以表达冲泡，像是你要表达冲泡茶、冲泡咖啡的动作。那么课文接着写到说，用来制作绿茶的叶子呢，会经过处理。举例来说，可能会稍微蒸过，或是去把它烘干。那么用来制作红茶的那些，则是会放着让它干燥。好，这边有一个重点是 while 当连接词的不同意思。第一个呢，我们可以用 while 表达然而，这时候它就相当于 whereas， 用来对照2件人事物。像我们可以说 some prefer warm weather while others prefer cool weather。有些人偏好温暖的天气，而有些人是偏好凉爽天气。我们用这个 while 来表达有些人怎么样，而有些人怎么样。好，那么第2个用法是把 while 当作虽然尽管来解释，那就相当于 although。例如 while he lives far away, he's never late for school。虽然他住得很远，但他上学从不迟到。第3个用法是用 while 来表达在什么期间与什么同时，这时候它就相当于 when。例如 The phone rang while he was taking a shower。他在洗澡的时候电话响了。好，那么接着回到课文中。
How much do you really know about tea? 2.
On average, which country's citizens consume the most tea? A. China. B. The United Kingdom. C. Turkey. D. Japan. It's true that the British have the reputation of being great tea lovers, but they don't drink as much tea as the people of Turkey. A single Turkish citizen uses more than 3 kilograms of tea leaves per year, which is enough to make over 1,200 cups of tea. All right, so question number 2 in our great tea challenge, our tea quiz. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Are you thinking tea?
I'm thinking tea.
Thinking all things tea. Okay, so question number 2. On average, which country's citizens consume the most tea? All right, so not the most in all the world, but for each average person in that country, how much tea, which country do people drink the most tea in?
Okay. What are my answers
Oh, yes.
here?
A, China. B, the United Kingdom, Britain. C, Turkey. Or D, Japan.
My first instinct is B, the United Kingdom, because British people love their tea.
They love their cup of tea. Yep.
Well, citizen. Which country's citizens? Let's get to that first.
Sure.
What is a citizen? A citizen just means a person from a city or country. For example, you can be a New York City citizen, a citizen of New York, or you can be an American citizen. Okay, so the citizen usually has a passport from that country, or they live there. For example, Jason is a French citizen who is currently living in Japan. So he lives in Japan, but his passport, the place he was born and probably grew up, is France. So he is a French citizen.
All right, so there you go. So, the citizens of which country? China, the UK, Turkey, or Japan? Which country's citizens drink the most tea? Now, the article says it's true that the British have the reputation of being great tea lovers, but they don't drink tea. They don't drink as much tea as the people of Turkey.
That is very surprising to me.
The answer is Turkey. Yeah,
Wow.
that is kind of surprising. Like you, I would have probably said the United Kingdom or British people.
Yeah, I would have said that too. British citizens love their tea, huh?
They do. But Turkish people love it even more.
Wow, see, a single Turkish citizen uses more than 3 kilograms of tea leaves per year, which is enough to make over 1,200 cups of tea.
Wow, that is amazing.
That's
I would
a
say
lot of tea.
Part of it might be because of changing tastes.
Yes.
Right? Maybe more British people now drink other things than tea. I know Britain used to be that big beer drinking country.
Yes.
But people there drink much less beer than they used to. They drink more wine, for example.
Yes.
But that's just changing tastes. But they do have a reputation of being great tea lovers. And they still do love a good cup of tea, most people in Britain. Now, it's a reputation. Well, this is a noun, and basically it means what people think of a person or something. It's not always based on the facts. It might be based on something you heard or something you read or something someone told you. But if you ask your average person, what do you think of this person or this thing? They'll say, well, I don't really know, but I think, or I heard, or someone told me. For example, Paris has a reputation for being a very romantic city, but also quite an expensive city to live in. Now, that's probably true in many ways, but you could also find parts of Paris that maybe aren't so romantic and maybe aren't so expensive. Maybe it's a little bit cheap to live in some areas, but most people would say that Paris is a very romantic but very expensive city. Even if they've never been there, this is what they've heard, this is what they understand, this is what people have told them over the years. For example, that school has a great reputation. I've never been there, but I hear it's a really good school.
Yeah, this could be something like Harvard. Harvard has a great reputation.
Absolutely. And maybe Turkish people should have a great reputation as tea lovers.
Yes, apparently they do.
There might be some facts to support that. All right, that's it for today, but we have more, don't we?
Even more.
2 more questions about tea, so have a cup now and come back tomorrow with your thinking caps on and maybe a cup of tea to join us again. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
好，第2题，平均而言，哪个国家的居民喝最多的茶呢？是中国、英国、土耳其还是日本呢？Kim 老师说他的第一直觉是选英国。好，那老师用到 instinct 就可以表达直觉或是天性本能。这个字是拼作 instinct instinct。好，那么课文写到说，英国人的确有爱喝茶的这个名声，但他们喝的茶不如土耳其人多，所以答案应该是土耳其哦。你有猜对吗？每一位土耳其人民每年使用超过3公斤的茶叶，那这个量呢，足以泡超过1200杯的茶。好，我们来看单字 citizen 就表示公民、国民或是市民。那么 reputation 表示名声、声誉的意思。好，那么我们今天是先考2题，明天课程还会再考2题，看看你到底是不是茶专家。Mike 老师建议大家去帮自己泡杯茶，然后再回来仔细思考这些题目。好，老师用到 thinking cap， 字面意思是这个思考帽，对不对？那我们可以用 put one's thinking cap on 来表达某人动脑筋思考，认真的仔细去思考考虑。好，那么以上是今天的讲解，同学别走开，马上回来哦。
How much do you really know about tea? Second only to water, tea is one of the most popular drinks in the world. Whether you like it boiling hot, poured over ice, or served with milk and tapioca pearls, there's a lot to love about tea. But how much do you know about it? Let's test your knowledge to see if you're a real tea master. 1. How many types of tea plants are there? A. 1, B, 2, C, 3, D, 4. Although there are thousands of different types of teas, they all come from one plant, Camellia sinensis, a bush native to East Asia. The differences come from where the plants are grown and how their leaves are treated after harvest. Leaves used to make green tea are processed. For instance, they can be lightly steamed or oven-dried, while those used to make black tea are left to dry. 2. On average, which country's citizens consume the most tea? A. China, B. The United Kingdom, C. Turkey, D. Japan. It's true that the British have the reputation of being great tea lovers, but they don't drink as much tea as the people of Turkey. A single Turkish citizen uses more than 3 kilograms of tea leaves per year, which is enough to make over 1,200 cups of tea.
Just a few minutes' walk from Danshui MRT station is Danshui Old Street. The street is lined with traditional shops, cafes, and restaurants. Fans of traditional treats will find age, iron eggs, and other favorites here. For history lovers, McKay Memorial Hospital and Danshui Chapel can be explored nearby. Tourists can also stroll by the water and take in the sights and sounds of the ocean. Around every corner are street performers, musicians, and artists. Have fun and win a prize at one of the many gaming machines that line the street. Seafood restaurants here let you hand-pick the fresh seafood you want. Next to the water is a large field where you can relax, have a picnic, or play sports. At the end of the day, take a ferry to Bali or Fisherman's Wharf for the sunset.
See you next time!